Hey guys, welcome back to the Leverage Advantage Show. And today we're very honored, humble, and grateful to have Isaac Tolpin with us. Isaac is one of the founders of conveyyour.com. It's the #1 microlearning platform for influencers and companies. Now, Isaac is a tech entrepreneur and futurist at heart. He's on a mission to enable brands to authentically connect and inform at scale with over $105 million in combined revenue from the companies he's helped to build. Now, his success comes from understanding the relationships between human behavior, business, and technology. And this expertise has helped celebrity influencers and companies to transform their knowledge into humanized digital learning. He brings a visionary mindset to his family by creating a legacy, raising and educating their 7 children with his wife, Angie Tolpin of courageousmom.com. This is my favorite part of it. He refuses to waste his life achieving the world's definition of success that leaves so many people empty, but instead does what matters most to the projects he's involved in, those he serves, and the family he leads. Thank you so much for being with us, Isaac.
Oh, it's great to be here, Fasil, and I'm excited to engage with you here. You guys got a great thing going.
Thanks, man. I'm not sure if my introduction of you really brought justice to what you do. I'd love it if you could share a little bit about your story and what you do, who you help with the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these days I'm a tech entrepreneur, and our platform Convey Your is a micro learning platform, which is really the answer to killing boring with digital training. Whether it's a trainer or it's a company and they're putting their employees through something, nobody wants another traditional digital training program or online course to go through. And we humanized it. We said, okay, what does the learner need to be retained and actually enjoy it? And so we built it from the ground up for that, and then made it work for the HR or, the monetization for the trainer or business person. So that's what we do. And it's going super well. I've done lots of things in my life as an entrepreneur, and there's a couple things that are always important to me, which is, there's lots of ways to make money, but what's important is how we make our money. And the work we actually do to impact the world is very, very important, because we spend appropriate amount of time doing it, but also that there's leverage, and so it's very appropriate that we're talking to each other. I love the idea of the positive attributes of creating leverage so you can live the life you want to and have the impact you're called to.
I love that, man, and I love that. Well, maybe I should share with you a little bit about our story. A couple of years ago, my business partner and myself, Imran, we decided to create a mobile learning platform that was called Street Smart University. And there were so many things going around online learning at that point. It was about 2012. Eventually, I think one of our biggest mistakes was we went wide with content rather than deep. And what happened was we ran out of money. We burned all our money through. And then when we finally got back on our feet, we decided to go real deep, and that made a big difference. But what I see here is that your play is very different. Your play is very much you're making this technology accessible to people and showing them how to use it to grow their business, and I really love that. Now, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced coming up with Conveyor?
Well, everything's a learning process, right? And some of that learning involves failing at other things sometimes, right? So, I used to have an agency where there's 43 employees, and we built the production side of e-learning for influencers and so forth. And what we really learned is that in this space, it's just fundamentally flawed. It's one thing to put your information up there, but there's a new responsibility, not just to sell or give your information away, but to actually build it in a way where that experience draws people in to want more and to consume that content and actually impact and actually implement that and have impact. And so you think about it, there's a lot of people want to create leverage through online courses, for example, but what you don't want to do is create leverage just for yourself through online courses. And what I mean by that is have your big product launch or be selling these on an ongoing basis, but then 5% of people ever complete them or implement them in their lives, because you might be fooling yourself about fulfilling your greater calling of impact if you're only taking the money and then people aren't implementing. And I think there's a renewed responsibility to actually create it in a way where people can do that, because technology is caught up to humanizing this experience. So
Yeah, awesome. And I think that's the biggest misconception that a lot of people have, is the biggest myth that a lot of people have, is that if you build it, people will come, and then people will go through the whole thing, and that's really not the case. We've ever had that experience of building something, spend 6 or 8 or 9 months building something, and nobody came, zero. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
We spent maybe about 9 months building our mobile platform, and we had maybe about 50 or about 100 people come for our launch, and not a single person downloaded it. Not a single person downloaded it. And so that was a very big lesson to us, and we had to go back to the drawing board and really understand why. And then we realized that it's not that uncommon that people think, oh, if I build it, they will come. And that's when we really realized it's not about you. It's not about you, what the businessman, what an entrepreneur wants. It's about, you really have to think about what your audience wants, and deliver that value to them in order for them to give back value to you.
You're absolutely right. I mean, you're nailing it, because we have within us like, oh, I've got to get this out to the world. Well, did you validate that people want to buy that from you? Did you validate first, right? And this is what you went through. I have gone through. Many people have gone through, and I think probably the most successful marketers have experienced. That's why they tried to solve that and did solve it in their business. But yeah, you got to really test and survey and try things and figure out what are they willing to trade their hard-earned dollars for, and actually is answering a real pain in their life, and to position that in a way where they really want it. I think you make a huge point.
Awesome. And tell me a little bit about the microlearning platform. Who does it serve, and how does it do it?
Yeah, so we built it. We intimately understand the trainer, consultant, speaker market. I've done that work myself. We also understand the corporate environment, and so we have this unique thing where we have a lot of these trainers and speakers who want to reinforce their consulting from stage or their live stuff, to reinforce that with microlearning, or we have the trainers who want to have standalone courses they can sell on their sales funnels and create libraries, subscription content, and so forth. But then again, what's really awesome is we have Capital One using it to train employees, and we have University of Alberta putting their college classes in it. And there's really, I would say, a disruption happening in the digital training space, where I think that people are starting to wake up and go, hey, let's not give people something that is inferior to the very tools we use in our everyday lives, right? We have iPhones and nice Samsung phones and so forth now. And then if we get a bad experience, here's a rule. If you give someone an experience inferior to what, they have in their pocket every day, you've already lost. And so it's got to be mobile driven. There's a lot of aspects that make it humanized in our definition. And so forth. But really, it's those people who want to create leverage, and it's those companies that want to easily create leverage through training people. So it's not so labor intensive with human beings all the time, and you can now create something people actually enjoy. It doesn't take much time, right to their mobile device, and kind of brings that to life with gamification, social learning, and things like that.
That's awesome, man. I really love it, because that's actually the space that we came in from. Right now we run an agency, but before we used to teach digital marketing, and a tool like this would have been really, really helpful. I mean, not just for the implementation of the training, but also the lead generation aspect of it as well. I'm actually glad I learned about it now.
Well, it sounds like a cool business you guys are doing. And, I think we're in an age where, we don't care about buying from brands unless they care about us.
Yeah.
And, it's this world where, from a business perspective, because I'm sure there's a lot of business owners listening in, is you want to create the ability to have authentic connection with your customers, your employees, the people buying your courses, whoever those are, that they feel like they're being communicated directly to them, and you're connecting directly with them. But then the question is, how do you do that in an efficient way, in a
Yeah.
scalable way?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you don't have leverage, right? If you're coaching people or you're speaking, your time is occupied. But
Exactly.
now how do you still do what you love, but then also create this other side of your business, the online side, where there's leverage?
Exactly. And and you really hit the nail on the head in terms of getting that leverage, because there are a lot of trainers, high level trainers and consultants that I know that their time is worth so much money, but they know that the information and the expertise that they have is very impactful and very valuable. It's just that they can't spend that time to teach it to people who don't have the money to pay them. And I think what you do, giving them that leverage, is really creating a lot more impact, because now, these guys don't have to pay $5,000 a day to learn from this consultant. When this consultant doesn't have to be there, it's a zero to many solution. You can pay $400, you can pay $50, and you still get that same quality of information. You might not get that same quality of interaction, but at least you have access to that information.
Yeah, exactly right. And here's a recommendation, people listening in, like, where do I start with this kind of thing? How do I start creating leverage in an online marketing way, or selling my information in a way that doesn't occupy me in person? Not that you want to stop doing that, it's your passion, right? But I always look for the lowest hanging fruit. So anybody listening in, look for the lowest hanging fruit opportunity that has the biggest impact and reward, that's easiest to do, right? So it might be, you're a speaker. Well, are you lead capturing everybody from your audience in a seamless way and giving them value afterwards? So when those surveys come back and they say, who's your favorite speaker? Even though you're awesome, they don't forget about you because you're still impacting them afterwards with a campaign.
Yep.
And you've lead captured them. Even if you're not going to use that data yet, at some point you're going to market to those people when you figure that out. Another thing is, like, if you're a consultant, you might want to, reinforce your live training, because the biggest complaint for the consulting industry is they come in, the experts come in, they're awesome, people love them, and then they leave and everybody goes back to their same behavior.
Yep.
And so now you could use it as marketing differentiation by saying, I come in and we're excellent. But what we also have is a reinforcement experience that people love, that helps implement and have our live content have staying power and implementation with your people.
Yeah.
And so that's another way to get used to it. And then the other beautiful thing is when you digitize your content in a really good micro learning platform that's humanized like this, now these corporate clients and these clients are seeing you in a whole new light. They're going, wow, he's good in person when he coaches me as an executive, but my employees love him too. The audience loved him in digital too, is what I meant. They love him in digital too. And so when they know that you're great in digital too, because microlearning brings your content to life very easily, it's very engaging. Now you open doors to content licensing deals, opportunities, corporate licensing with your content, all kinds of other doors could open.
Awesome, man. I love what you said about the lowest hanging fruit, because this is something that we teach as well. I think a lot of businesses too often think about who they want to target, but they don't think about who's most likely to buy from them, right? And it seems like the same thing, but it's not, because when you're thinking about who you want to target, you're thinking from your perspective or the entrepreneur's perspective, and you're thinking about who's most likely to buy from you. You're really thinking about the person that's going to be able to extract the most value from you, right? And the other thing I loved about what you say is this. Every time I teach, I always ask people, in a 3-day seminar, which is the most important day? Some people say it's the first day because it's the foundation. Some people say it's the third day because it's the transformation. I always tell them the most important day is the 4th day, guys, because that's when I'm not there with you. You gotta do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I love what your thing does. Exactly.
Yeah, no, you're so right. Yeah, when it isn't it true that real behavior, the game-changing behavior, you said this, I'll just say it another way, is what you do when nobody's looking.
Exactly.
That's the game-changing moments of anybody's success. Absolutely. Is when nobody's looking.
Yeah. So tell me, man, what's the thing that excites you the most about your industry, about what you do?
I love disruption. And what I mean by that is positive disruption. I love doing entrepreneurship in an area that where I feel like needs some change to better humanity, better serve humanity, and can have a significant impact. And so I love what we're doing because it's it's now taking something that's usually taking people's time and energy and sometimes money, and they're consuming content right now in the normal traditional way, even if it's Kajabi, Teachable, Thinkific, any of those, or the normal LMS platforms. It's very nominal. It's very out of touch with where human beings are. And so if we can bring that to life, people actually consume it, not just watch it because they have to, but they actually delight in it. And we're connecting people, unifying people, and causing people to actually implement the information. So it's a great thing. I love it for the learner because we're kind of saving their lives, okay, from all this boring stuff. We're killing boring.
Yeah.
But I also love it for the small business person that's like, I've always dreamed of creating leverage with my content, but I was always concerned about doing it because I'm so good in person. You wouldn't say that maybe to other people, but you know it. Okay. And my magic happens in person. Well, I'm not saying that our technology duplicates you, because nothing will make you as good as what happens in person. There's a lot of things that can't be replaced, but it's the next best thing and people love it. And so if you can create something that aligns with your brand of live training, that's digital, you have changed your whole world in some cases if you can figure out the distribution part and the marketing part, right? And as far as a business goes, here's what I love. I'm on the phone with major companies, sometimes billion-dollar companies, global organizations, and I'm talking to their HR people and I'm talking to their chief learning officers. And when they see Conveyor, it's like they light up, because no longer do we have to do this boring stuff and Articulate or Captivate or try and connect over these old antiquated LMS systems, spends hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then 6 months later when we're done, parts of it are irrelevant, but we still give it to the millennials. The millennials don't trust any of it because you've already deceived them with something that was irrelevant. So now their lights go up. Well, wow, it's so much easier to produce. We take short videos, we can put it into a platform, and it's far more engaging, and they love it right to their phones. And so we're making their jobs easier, and the learners are being saved and actually impact this information. So I get fired up about it. My encouragement to anybody on here is you've got to know your bigger reason for doing what you're doing, because that propels you through the tough stuff in entrepreneurship. And you've got to know your bigger whys, and that just makes it so meaningful. And we only want one life to live, right? We might as well do something that has a really big significance. And I always tell people, hey, pursue significance, what's meaningful versus mere success. There's lots of ways to get mere success. When I say mere, it's like the world's definition of success. There's no problem making money. That's great. But you know what? Pursue the significance within your skills and your abilities, and then replicate yourself through systems, technology, people, and your business. And your business should be an engine that helps you live the life you're supposed to live. So those are some thoughts.
That's really awesome, because I was just going to ask you what your definition of success was. I think you touched on it a little bit from there, and also you mentioned something much earlier on in the interview about it's more about how you make your money. And that's also what I tell people. It really isn't about how much money you make. It really isn't. It is about how you make your money. I'll share with you a story, man. I just went for Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within. And it was a transformational experience. But one of the things I learned about myself was that I used to tell myself, I used to have this limiting belief that I didn't need a lot of money to live. I don't, right? And so what that did for me was every time I made enough money, I just took the foot off the gas. And then what happened was, then I realized that it's not and the reason why I took my foot off the gas was because my focus was on the money and I had enough, right? And then when I realized that it's not about the money is just a byproduct of your impact. The more impact you have, the more money you have. And so when my then I realized that my focus should be on the impact, and that I shouldn't take my foot off the gas when I've got enough money. And because my job is not done, my job is to create as much impact as I can. And so that completely flipped my worldview around, and it completely flipped my definition of success. So my definition of success is not how much money I have in the bank. It's really about how many more people's lives are better because I live. How many more people's lives are better because I continue on my journey. What would you say your definition of success is?
Well, first, I just want to say we have a lot in common. I completely agree with what you're saying. It's absolutely right. And there's a lot of people that sometimes, will say that because they know it's right, but inside at their core, they don't. I can tell you really live it, and that's cool. And I think that's important. I think the word integrity means actually it comes from wood. If a wood has integrity, it means it's solid throughout. There's no knots that are going to make it weak or anything like that. And I think it's the same within ourselves. Is there full integrity through what's in us and what we project out of us to other people in our lives? And I think if you really have integrity about that, which I can tell you do, but people listening, if you have integrity about this, it is so cool, that shift that you're talking about. And I would say, I think people will define success in different ways, and I think that's healthy.
Yeah.
I think my definition of success, I'm a faith-based guy, my definition of success, if I train, disciple my children, and, I'm the best husband I can possibly be, and, I, provide for them, and I'm there for them. And it's not just quality time, it's also quantity time, because in quality time, you don't have enough time to catch the things that only happen in quantity time. That's another discussion. But I think that, creating leverage so you can be there for your family and so forth. And so I think that is really, really important. And in living to have impact, I mean, we were all created for the purpose to have impact on other people. And I think a proof of that, here's a proof. You can look in your own life, if you're listening to this, and you can think, wow, am I wired, am I created in a way to have everything, every strength, and not need other people? Well, some people listening, unfortunately, kind of go, yeah, that's kind of me. And you're wrong. Okay. and that's the ego-driven, super prideful person that's really successful. Okay. I hope that's not you listening. But the people that understand, what, I have strengths and I have weaknesses. And, I need other people where I have strengths and they're strong where I'm weak to come in around me and show me how to work the system or set this part of my business up or help me in my life with this. And so we are born to need other people, but also to operate in the strengths we've been given to impact other people as well. And so I'm kind of giving you some different answers here, but I definitely don't think having $1 million or $10 million or $1 billion in the bank is the definition of success. I think money is fine. Money is a good thing. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. The love of money as your top priority is a bad thing, because it corrupts the heart, it corrupts the human, and it helps and it puts out of sight. It causes you to potentially make bad decisions for other people to get that most. Whatever your top priority things are, not what you tell people, but really heart of hearts, whatever your top priority things are, is going to come out in how you treat other people. And you're exactly right. If you put, like, I want to serve and impact as many people as I possibly can with the gifts God has given me, then I know you didn't say exactly that way, but then I am going to, I am successful. I am living in success.
Absolutely, man. We've come pretty much to the end of the interview. I really love this. Is an amazing conversation. I'm so happy that we got connected. What would a shameless plug for your business be? Share with everybody else, what you do, how they can get more information if they want to, get in touch with your business.
Yeah, conveyor.com, conveyour.com, like convey your message. So conveyyour.com. There's a free demo on the front of our website. I encourage you to go check that out. It's super cool. You'll put your name and your cell phone number in. It'll text to your phone a link, and you can play with a demo course right on your phone of different engagement formats and so forth. So that's really cool. You can connect with me, please do, anywhere on social media. Isaac Tolpin, ISAACTOLPIN, and my email is isaac@conveyyour.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're really humbled, very grateful, and very honored to have you on the show, Isaac. Thank you so much.
Oh, so great to be here, and appreciate it. Love what you're doing.
Hey there, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, check out a relevant video here, and don't forget to subscribe to us for more marketing tips, techniques, strategies that are working for us, or just more behind the scenes fun. See ya!